Hi, welcome to the Inspire View series. My name is Cherrise Boucher of CherriseBoucher.com, and I am thrilled to have you here for another episode. I have been so inspired to do this series because all the women that I've met from all over the world have been inspiring to me, inspiring to others, and they share their passions about how they got to where they are now by following their heart. And so when we're stuck in some of those, what am I trying to do with my life moments? I always think about the women that I've interviewed, and I get re-inspired and motivated to follow my own heart and passion. So today, I am really excited. I've got to put these glasses on because I can't read. I am thrilled to introduce you to Tricia. Tricia, and I'm so sorry, I forgot to ask how you pronounce your last name. Is it?
It's Dycka. Dycka, yes.
Okay. So, well, now everybody knows who I'm interviewing today. And Tricia Dycka is an intuitive coach, Reiki Master, fellow Reiki Master, bestselling author, teacher, speaker, and enthusiast. She helps empaths love life and be happy. And she says that an empowered empath is a badass. And I agree, right? So welcome, Tricia. I am so happy that you are here on my Inspire View series.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me on. And I just have to say, I totally get that needing the glasses to see things right in front of you.
Yeah. I can see good far away. It's the close-up that I can't do. So it looks like I'm going to be probably doing more and more of these interviews with glasses on if I have to read things. So tell us a little bit, because since you work with a lot of empaths, I assume you are one yourself. So tell us how you even got to this point in your life where you're working with them, and well, we'll have multiple questions. Let's start with that first, because I do that all the time. I have these 5-part questions. Get excited.
Wow. I'm actually, if you would have met me probably 5 years ago, you would have said it was a hot mess. It was and I clearly remember it too, which is kind of scary. It was September, right around my birthday, and I started to get funky, just being there. I felt so overwhelmed and strung out, and nothing made me happy. And I was just kind of going through the motions. It was like somebody sucked the life out of me, literally. And it progressively got worse until Thanksgiving. Right around Thanksgiving, it was like somebody opened up a faucet and I became waterwork woman. And I would cry hysterically at the drop of a hat. I was literally an emotional basket case, and it went straight through the holidays. And my husband, I really, now I look back and feel bad for him, because he'd be like, well, what's the matter? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I had no idea. I would come in the house and just let loose. Like I had the weight of the world on my shoulders, and it was horrible because I was going through the motions of day in and day out. I was trying to hide from everybody that I was so miserable. And I couldn't figure it out. I didn't understand it. And mind you, I'm a people person. I love being around people. I hid. I literally hid. I love decorations for Christmas. I think I put my tree out with some lights on it. That's never me. I'm dressed it all up, and I have dancing Santas. This year, no, I didn't invite anybody over. We had to go to his work Christmas party, and I don't even think I got dressed that year. I think I went in jeans, something I just never do. And he's like, I don't get it. And I was done. And I did the best that I could to get through day to day, literally. And I had a job, so it was even more difficult because I would get up in the middle of the day and go in the bathroom and just start crying. that's not me. That's not never who I was. So I finally, I remember waking up one morning going, I just can't do this anymore. I don't know what the hell's going on, but somebody's got to help me and I'm having this conversation out loud in my bedroom because I'm like, I'm done. I'm seriously done. I can't stomach myself. My eyes are bright red all the time. They're puffy. People are like, what's the matter? I'm like, nothing. Everything's great. Meanwhile, I just felt like I was dying inside. So that was the start of understanding who I was and understanding this gift. And of course, mind you, I didn't think this was a gift.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't think so either. Yeah. I was experiencing that.
Horrible. And all of a sudden, like I don't know who or what anybody does, but I speak to the universe, God, source energy. You could call it whatever you want. And I just remember saying, please help me because I'm at my wit's end and I cannot live my life like this. And this went on pretty much Thanksgiving through the new year. Because even New Year's I hid. I was like, I don't want to watch the ball drop. I don't care. And then I started getting messages through Facebook, people, contacting me saying, I got to talk to you. And I was like, okay. And, they'd be like, what's going on? And I'm like, nothing. They're like, no, really. I know I'm supposed to talk to you and I know I've got some things to say to you. And then I just started spilling my guts because I was like, Tricia, what else do you have? You've got nothing to lose. Maybe they can help you,
Right.
And piece by piece, I started putting it together and different people came to me with, check this out, check that out. And I started hearing the word empath and I'm like, okay. And then I went and talked to my husband and he started researching you. He's like, hon, this is you to a T. This is you. This is you. And I was like, yeah. He's like, since the day that I met you, these are the things that you've always done.
Wow.
Different things that, how I would react to arguing or how I'd react to violence or to abuse, whether it's, I don't care who it was, or an animal, a person, how I would handle a lot of discourse and, things that went on just within the dynamics of relationships. And things got so clear so fast. And then I was able to start putting it together because I was like, this is not me. I can't do this. I need to be happy again because damn, done.
Yeah. It's strange. I wonder if that happens to a lot of people where they're they're fine. And then all of a sudden it just comes crashing in.
Mm-hmm. I've spoken to several people and yes, for me, I believe I was constantly bombarded with others' emotions and not knowing what to do with it. I kind of shut myself down. I totally stopped feeling at one point. And that was September, October, and most of November. And then it was like, you can't do this. I guess somebody said, this is not how you're going to handle it. And they opened the valve on my emotional cover and everything I had shut down not to feel decided it wanted to come up and say hello. But this was also years of, it wasn't an overnight thing. This is years of dealing and not really understanding. And of course, we all grew up with, don't let anybody know there's something wrong with you. Don't show emotion,
You're a big girl. Don't cry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. So now you've decided, well, I'm assuming you decided, no, you help other people who experience this same thing. And I think a lot of people probably more people than we know are empaths.
Yes.
And maybe don't label themselves that, but experience those same things. So what you do, I'm sure, helps them identify why they feel the way that they feel or why they experience what they experience.
Yeah. Yes.
So what brought you to even that point? Because like you said, you were working, and you'd come home and you'd feel all this overwhelm with the emotions and everything. So how did you get to like, okay, now I've identified what I am and why I feel this way, to where you are now and what you do to help other people?
Out of desperation, out of desperation, I'm not even kidding you, out of desperation, I actually formed a group on Facebook, because just spiritual topics, because other things on top of being an empath, because I'm so sensitive to energies, other things started growing. And I wanted a group where people could talk about it without having to worry about so many strict things. People are like, you can't do this if you want to be spiritual, and you can't do that if you want to be spiritual. And I was like, well, I just want to be me and figure this out. So it's about 4 years ago, I started the Spiritual Freedom Group, and we just talk about spiritual topics. And interestingly enough, I ended up attracting empaths. So quite a few in there. It's interesting that how many people in there, men and women, are. It's not a big group, but as I grew and said, how can I deal with this gift, be happy, and figure out immediately what's mine and what isn't, that I started getting downloads, if you will, like responses to the questions that I asked. Because when we start asking questions to the universe out loud, to people, you start getting responses and answers, and they just kind of started flooding in. And it's interesting because to this day, I'll still say, well, what other tools can I use to help people help themselves? And I still will, all of a sudden, these like flashlights of inspiration will come to me. And I'm like, ooh, let me try this. And ooh, who's am I going to be my guinea pig to, try this new thing out? And it's funny, I do have a bunch of people that I'm like, all right, let's try this and let's try that. And I've gotten great feedback on the things that I've, had these inspiration on. But I think it's when we become desperate enough that we need to change and we need to find another way of being and living. And I was there. I needed another way to live and to be, because I couldn't handle all of these emotions. And the empath community likes to do this woe is me, it's so heavy, it's so this.
Yeah, I see that out there sometimes.
Yes. Granted, let me tell you, we all have a bad day. Okay, we absolutely, hands down. But I'm a firm believer, the happier you are as a person, the easier this stuff flows through you. It's when you get caught up in the woe is me and the victim mode and the martyr mode of the victim mode of, oh my God, I feel everybody's pain, to the martyr mode of, look at me, I'm healing everybody. And, and believe me, I did it.
Yeah.
So as I stand here saying these things, I did them. So, but the one thing I learned is the happier I am inside myself and the happier person that I am, it's easier to flow through me. It's easier to deal with. It's easier to look at it as a gift than a burden.
Yeah. And I think your outlook on that must be so refreshing for some people, especially if some people find you and they're one of those on the other end of the spectrum, and they watch you and see how you're living it like flipped over, from how they're living it, that you're a really great example for them. And they probably want to know, like, how do you do that?
Yeah. Yes. It's interesting you say that, because I posted something on Facebook, and I just recently had a free call, and they're like, I'm so glad I'm not crazy by myself. So, so I'm happy to be crazy and happy. And, and it's the people, the biggest thing that I had learned for myself is I felt so alone. I, honest to God, thought the men in white coats were going to come take me away. I literally, I almost was like, should I just go to a psychiatrist at this point? Because I didn't make any sense.
Right.
So that fear of, am I truly crazy? I'm so alone. I don't know what to do. Like, that's why I want to reach people, because if you start talking about it and start learning to deal with it, and the biggest thing is if you can learn to figure out what really is yours, because yes, we definitely, all of our own stuff comes up and crops up and we've got to deal with it. But an empath is a cleaner of the universe. That is my opinion. Yeah. We are here to help lighten people's loads, whether we know you or not. We do that. I have strangers, I've never met them. They come up to me, usually in the supermarket. I don't know why. They unburden themselves with their problems and their situations. And sometimes I don't even say a word. And they touch my arm and say, thank you so much. I don't know why I stopped you. I don't know why I told you, because I never tell anybody these things, but thank you. I feel so much better. And they go. So in whatever way we help clear them, we don't take it all away from them. We just give them a lighter burden. It's like we're helping clear that energy around them enough so that they can actually deal with it themselves on a level that they can.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that's funny, because a lot of people would I don't know, like my whole life, I've never considered myself an empath, to be honest with you. But some people have said I was, and a lot of people come to me the same way. And I'm like, I don't know why, but people just tell me like their whole life story, without any prompting or anything. It's just like, boom, there it is. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm okay with it. If you feel better, getting stuff out, then get it out.
Yeah.
But that's kind of fun. So then that leads me to ask, are there certain traits that most empaths have? You've probably already kind of outlined that, but I'll ask the question specifically.
There's a lot, really.
A lot.
But there's some.
We're going to need to write a novel about this one.
Yeah. Like there's some basic ones, like being overwhelmed in large groups. When I was going through my hot mess period, I would go to the mall, and of course it was during Christmas time, people buying gifts, and I can't tell you how many times I've turned around and ran out and pretty much left my husband at the mall.
Yeah, I stay away from the mall during that time too.
Well, it's a lot of people to begin with. Now you're dealing with all of their emotions. And what's amazing is, as much as we feel the difficult emotions, we also feel the happy, joyful, excitement, all of those, but we never ever question.
Right.
Is that mine?
Right. Well, who cares? Who cares if it's yours, if it's joy and happiness and excitement, you're like, happy to have that.
Yes. But that is just as much. You're feeling that just as much as you're feeling the other end.
Right.
So yes, you're definitely getting the happiness, the joy, the excitement, all of that. Absolutely. There is like, you're picking up on emotions. That's, basic one. You can feel physical issues. Like and it's interesting because I can be around people that are tired, and all of a sudden I'm tired. And I'm like,
oh, yeah.
I'm like, I wasn't tired 5 minutes ago. What the hell? And it's, I just recently spoke to somebody who's been having migraines most of her life. And I asked her a few key questions. And she just sent me a message going, I have not had a migraine in weeks. And for her, it's she's always had them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, where were you picking them up from? It's to the point, well, do we even need to know where or who?
Right.
People seem to deal with it because they talk to people constantly. Their family members, they pick it up from them. But with empaths, it's the whole world. You don't need to know anybody. It's a collective. Currently with the craziness going on with the election, there's a lot of emotions coming up with that. So you'll be feeling that on a collective basis. That fear, that anxiety, that anger that's coming up,
Right.
at, sadness and everything else that's dealing with that. I'm just using that as an example because it's going on right now, and the same thing with world events, like earth events too, hurricanes, earthquakes, things like that you can feel on a global wave. So those are the things. Violence, it's just, I will not watch any of the mafia movies, the Godfathers, the Goodfellas. I'm out the door. Bye, you can watch it. It doesn't matter. I don't like it. It like, I physically feel it in my body, even though it's on TV.
Right.
It does something to me. The like I was saying, is it abuse, when you see those horrible baby commercials or animal commercials, it's like, oh my God.
Animal commercials, and they're forever long. They're like a infomercial. We were just talking about that the other day, but because it makes you want to go pick up all the puppies and the kitties and take them.
Well, it actually, like, empaths feel it in their bodies. Like, you literally are feeling what they're feeling. It's like crazy, the amount of emotions that come through us on a daily basis. It's your constant peacemaker. You see people, like, I do it. I used to do it. I don't anymore, because people need to deal with one another. I don't need to be trying to get involved and try to, make it peaceful, because that's what I would do. If I saw my sister fighting with my nephew, or really none of my business, to be honest, but I would get into placate and
right,
create peace.
Right.
But as I've grown as an empath, really realizing, all of this, I learned that I really need boundaries. That's like a whole other topic, though.
Right.
It's a sense of knowing too. Like, you'll know before things happen, or you'll know what's going on. Like, you'll hear it in your head or feel it before it may happen. And big one, you can sense bullshit a mile away.
Oh yeah.
You can just. It's
and
like,
then you wonder why other people can't.
Yes.
Have you ever done that? Like, I've said, I knew from like the moment I met somebody, right? And I'm like, oh, such a bullshitter, right? And then you talk to somebody else and like, oh no, nicest guy ever.
Yeah,
yeah. Blind?
Yeah.
Like, what are you, like, in a box or something?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yes. It's like this, you just, it's the same thing as when someone's lying to you.
Mm-hmm. Whether
they're doing it deliberately, or in some cases they're doing it because they themselves don't want to deal with whatever's going on. So, you'll learn to tell the difference of someone's actually lying to you, or, they're lying, but they're only because they're not ready to deal with, they're lying to themselves. Right. Really.
Right.
So
not intentionally lying to you,
exactly.
Just kind of covering up their own.
Yes. Like,
protecting themselves from the truth.
Yeah. You're always on the side of the underdog. You see someone being picked on, or someone's not being treated fairly, and it's like, next thing you know, you're trying to, fight their battles or help them in some way. So these are like, signs if you see yourself doing them, and the other one is something is the empath mental fog. And you don't have to necessarily be in a spot that's got, because it's happened to me on a Sunday morning as I'm sitting drinking my coffee, watching TV, going, oh my God. And it's like one of those where you just can't finish sentences, you can't think straight, don't ask a question to me, because I'll just probably look at you stupidly and be like, and my husband's like, I'll come back later. He's seen that glazed look. He knows. He's like, okay, yeah, I'll make the decision, or I'll ask you later.
All right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think people watching this are probably starting to maybe put some puzzle pieces together for themselves too, if they haven't, already kind of put themselves in that category. Because it's interesting. Like, I've never actually talked about it, I don't think, like talked with anybody about this specific topic. So, I mean, like you said, you hear a lot of people, oh, woe's me. Oh, I'm an empath. I'm feeling everybody's shit, and but there's a light at the end of the tunnel, which is good. It's good. I think all empaths should like come find you, right?
Thank you.
Because it's a much brighter side to it.
Yeah, there really is. It's once you start looking at it as a gift, and once you start looking at it as truly part of you, because it is, I now look back at my life and go, oh yeah. Like, it all makes sense to me now. I understand, like, just as an example, from probably 5th, 6th grade until 11th grade, the first 3 weeks of every school year, I would cry. I was afraid of growing older. I was afraid of dying. I was afraid of what child do you know deals with this? Really?
Right.
And my mother would be like, you're just so sensitive. Stop your crying. I'm sick and tired of seeing you cry. And so it would make it worse for me. So, and of course, I didn't know until now, as I look back and going, I don't know who that was, but that was not mine, So, things as you grow up and as you think, you're like, wow, all right, now it makes sense. Now I get it. I really wasn't,
Maybe it was the teachers starting another school year. They're like, oh my God, my life is draining away from me. Here we go again. And you were like absorbing all their thoughts and emotions or something.
Yes.
They're like, I'm going to die teaching this class.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting. So I assume I talk a lot about being grounded and everything too. In fact, that was my card today. I post a card every single day from one of the decks that I've created. I kind of expand on that and, incorporate some crystals and all that good stuff in there. But so grounding is an awesome tool. And I'm sure you have some suggestions on how that can help people who already know they're an empath, or maybe you're just now discovering that might be what is going on with them.
Yeah. And by the way, cards, crystals, all of that stuff I use on a daily, crystals I wear all the time.
Yeah, me too.
Wear them all the time. I think they're excellent for grounding, to help with all the stuff coming through. So grounding is, being out in nature is imperative for an empath. It's like, and I never understood it. Like, my husband would be like, I don't understand, but I loved to pull weeds. People didn't understand.
My neighbors are like, hey, come on over. I see you're finished with your yard.
I tell my neighbor, how come pull your weeds? Like, I hate it, but yes, you can do it, She's like, but she actually thought I was kidding her. I'm like, no, I'm serious. I'm dead serious. That's so funny. She's like, you really like to, I love to have my hands in dirt. Grounding. I love to have my feet in the grass.
Yeah.
Grounding.
Yeah.
I love to just sit outside with no shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as the weather's good, and even if it's, raining or whatever, I don't care. 5 minutes outside, it's really helps ground me. It's a lot to do also with the, the magnetic of the earth and the electromagnetic of the earth. And it actually comes through us and really helps and heals and helps get rid of all that stuff that we've got inside of us.
Yeah.
So grounding. Another is walking and exercising. That helps get that energy moving. Anything that's got, and that's part of my problem too, is when things were changing so quickly for me. I didn't exercise. My ass was on the couch all the time.
Which makes it worse, because then your energy is stagnant and it's not flowing.
Exactly. So everything I was picking up was kind of just having fun inside of me because I wasn't really getting rid of it.
Right.
So, I mean, like yoga and walking and running and hot baths, Epsom salt baths are great to help drain and get rid of the toxins. And, you know, being in the mall, one of the things that, and it was an accident too, I found this, you know, I was literally like, I think I was starting to shake one day. I was like, oh my God. So I went into the bathroom to calm down. And I just remember using the water and I'm like, huh. And I just kept, you know, and I was in there washing my hands. And it actually, water is a great cleanser. Great cleanser. So if you're ever in a place where you can't do any of these things, you can go into the bathroom and wash your hands and just kind of with the intention that you're releasing everything, because water is just great cleanser.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who do like visualizations. I've done it before too, like in the shower, you know, and just visualizing that clearing.
Yes.
With the water.
Yes. And another great thing is as you're doing that in the shower in the morning, making sure that each one of your chakras is open and clear.
Yeah.
You know, if there's something stuck there, maybe even if after the shower it's still there, you know, again, there's like yoga exercises will open different chakras, and that's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Tai Chi, yoga, Zumba, like all of these things get you up, get you moving, get you, you know.
Zumba is sure going to get you up and moving.
I tried it. It was actually really good.
I think I would look like a really not coordinated.
Let's not go there. Got to try it once though. Come on.
Yeah, I know. I should put that on my list. Do before the end of 2016.
I tried pole dancing. If I can try pole dancing, you could try Zumba.
I just watched somebody that I just connected with on Facebook. She does that. She teaches that. I can't remember what her name is for the life of me, but so I was watching her video that she did with some new people, and that looked really interesting. That's a good way to like release some energy.
I think I did 2 or 3 classes. No, maybe 2. I was dizzy. I was done. No.
Yeah, I had a whole new appreciation for pole dancers.
Yes, I do. Yeah. And it's a sport too. I mean, some of these women are, you know, it's amazing what they can do, but
Well, we got totally off topic onto pole dancing. So
but the point is though, go out and try something. Go out and, even if you're walking around your block 3 times, get up, get yourself moving, get out in, you know, into nature, get outside.
Yeah, I totally agree. Being outside, that whole forest bathing. That's why we love to go on trails, because you're just surrounded with the trees and everything. And it's so refreshing. It just makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Just feel like almost immediate.
Yes.
So so one place that we go is close to the ocean, so we get the mix of the salt water, air, and all the trees. And I had to do half of the trail once barefoot because it was flooded, and that was scary because you don't know what's here in Florida, as we had this conversation before we started recording. But I did it, but then I was thinking, well, that was some grounding for me for sure.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And scary. So there was like an exhilaration level in there too, I think.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, we've got a few things too. Was there anything else you wanted to cover before we kind of wrap this up?
Yes. If they walk away with nothing, I want you to, one of the things that when I completely lost it and I said, please help me figure something out. I created something called my symbol. And what you do is, and you could pick anything you want. For example, mine is a bear. I actually have more than one symbol. I have 3. I have a bear, I have an elephant, and I have a tiger. And this is to discern what really is mine and what's not. So I use the bear for emotional overwhelm that is not mine. Then I needed to expand on that because of all the stuff going on around the world. It wouldn't make sense to me. Like, so I ended up using an elephant for collective consciousness. What I'm feeling wave after wave is, just something briefly, or is it something going on in the world? Like, that's how I can discern what that is. And then I use the tiger symbol is because with my growth of gifts, I hear people's emotions on top of feeling it. So like I'll hear, I don't want to go home, or I can't stand this one, or, different things that I'm like, oh my God, a lot of people just are not happy.
Right.
So I use these symbols. So in the morning when I ground, I then say to the universe, please show me my bear when what I'm feeling is not mine. And please show me the elephant symbol when what I'm feeling is a collective issue. And please show me the tiger when what I'm hearing has nothing to do with me or my relationships. So then I would, when I'd be feeling something, I'll never forget when I first started doing it. Within the first few days, I went into Best Buy with my husband, and he's like, I could see you are ready to bolt. I don't know, it must have been all over my face. And he goes, just get up, just look. And I looked on every TV, there was a bear.
Ah.
Right. And I actually said, all right, well, prove to me that that's what it was. A guy walked by with a bear shirt.
Oh my God.
I was like, all right. And it's funny because the first few weeks I would do that. Do you know what I'm saying? All right, prove to me that what I'm seeing is, not only am I asking the universe for it, now I'm asking you to prove it to me.
Right.
Believe it or not, the universe is very inventive.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the mall, and it was funny. I'm like, I'm starting to feel. And then I walked past this woman, lions and tigers and bear, oh my. Lions and tigers and bear, oh my. I'm like, okay. So it actually helps you go from here, super anxiety, high stress, to come down. All right, it's not mine, it's not mine, it's not mine. So, and then the next thing I'll do is I'll ask the universe to clear it out. And there's a lot of ways that I do that, but just these two to get you up and moving, and, to know what's not yours, and to have a quick clearing.
So did these symbols that you chose, did you choose them intentionally, or did you kind of ask for guidance on what would these symbols be?
Well, I chose them unintentionally, but apparently they are intentional, because I've had this for years, and it went like bad, and I went and bought another one. And just before the whole symbol thing, I ended up at an Indian store, and I bought a necklace with a bear on it. I just thought it was so cool. And I'm like, all right, gotcha. So even though you don't realize it, like, I think these things happen for a reason.
Right. So people could probably, if they're going to use this technique, which I really like, I think that's cool. Maybe they could ask, they probably have things that they're drawn to already, right? Is what you're saying. That would be their symbols for each category.
They could just start off with emotions. Just, and then as you start to recognize what's going on, and if you need to add them. But I was seeing that there was more going on with me, that I wanted more clarification. But it could be an instrument, it could be a flower, it could be a color, it could be an animal,
Right.
Anything you want.
Yeah. That's nice. That's a nice way, because it brings such awareness. So that you're not just like feeling these things and not knowing why or where it's coming from, but you're getting an indication of it with your symbol that it's not yours.
Yeah.
So you can let it go easier.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I like that. What a great tip.
I'm telling you, desperate times, I was open, I was asking, what can I do? So.
That's awesome. So I will share too that Tricia is going to do a workshop. We're going to do a live workshop via the Inspire View series. That will be announced as soon as we choose the date, but it'll be within the next month. So everybody will get a heads up on that. And I can't wait because it's going to be interactive, so you can ask questions and everything. So we're in the planning stages of that. But she also has an offer, and I'll let you share it because I'd have to find it now. So go ahead and share what you have for your offer for people who are watching this.
Well, what I am offering is on my website. It's to sign up to the free offer, and basically it's some tips. It's a symbol, and it comes with 3 other tips that you can put in place, like tools you can immediately start to use so that you could start to figure out what is yours and what isn't. As much as we want to give everything away, some of it is ours. We need to deal with it. So,
or you're just going to be lying to yourself.
Yeah. And some of that anger you'd like to give away to somebody else. Yeah, that might be yours.
Right.
So it's tools as to how to discern what is yours and what's not. And there's also a worksheet for the 7 outlets for the empaths. And it gives you the different outlets and some ideas for each outlet. For example, it is, you need an outlet for yourself. You absolutely do. So what could you do for yourself? Some type of rituals to create. Is meditation, is journaling, is painting, is trying new things. Example, pole dancing. Right. But that's something for me that I did.
Right.
So this is an outlet. You want to create outlets for yourself. And there's different outlets. There's 7 that I go over. And it gives you some ideas in each different category.
That's great. People get to dive a little deeper into what we've talked about here.
Yes.
And there'll be a link to that offer on my website on CherisseBoucher.com under the Inspire View Series tab. You can also find Tricia on TriciaDycka.com, where you'll find her offer as well. And we can find you in Facebook. What was the name of your group again?
That's Spiritual Freedom, but just hook up with me on Facebook. Send me a friend request, Tricia Dycka. And I do a lot of chatting on Facebook.
I think we're all there too much.
Yes.
But, if we weren't there, then we wouldn't have connected to do this interview. And then the workshop that I'm really excited to do. Well, you're going to be doing it, but we'll put it all out there together. I'm not taking credit for it. So, well, thank you so much. Again, all this information will be on my website on CherisseBoucher.com, and Tricia's interview, along with all my past interviews from this year and 2015, you can find there as well, with everybody's offers and free gifts and links to how you can find them. So it's all in one spot, which is super convenient. And if you want to keep updated on what I have going on and the workshops and everything, you can find me on Facebook, Cherrise D. Boucher, and also you can sign up on my website. And Tricia, thank you so much for being here, because we'll be connecting again very soon. And I'm so excited to be doing that with you, because this is really broadening my own knowledge on the empathic world. And I love that you are so sunny about it, now that you've already been through the dark end of the tunnel. I'm sure there's still moments, but I think it's good and refreshing to know, and for other empaths to know, that it doesn't have to be, a heavy thing all the time, especially when you have the tools to work around it.
Yes.
And awareness, like I talk about, like all the time. Awareness is the key to everything. And once you've used like the tools that you suggested and everything, that just brings your awareness in and helps you react differently, act differently. I'm sure that's so important.
Yes, that awareness piece. Yes.
Yes. So thank you Thank you again for being here and sharing your story and all your awesomeness with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it, and I'm so glad we met.
Yes, me too, even though we've known each other for a while on Facebook, I think, but we haven't talked in person, so it's been awesome. And we'll see everybody soon. Thank you again.